Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sabdi and I have a special guest for today's video. This video is the first video of a series called Spotlight where I interview people and just get to know them better, ask them questions about themselves, their backgrounds, what they do as a career, what they do for a hobby. And in today's video, I have my good friend Gina joining us.
Hey.
How are you, Gina?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So let's start off with the first question that I have for you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So my name is Gina Zachariah. I was born in Hollywood, Florida. My parents relocated to New York, so I was basically raised in New York. I currently live in Wilmington, Delaware, and that's where I met Sabdi.
Awesome. Next question is, what did you want to be when you grew up?
To be honest, I really wanted to be an astronaut.
Wow.
But then I realized how much math and physics and stuff went into that, and I was like, hard pass.
Awesome. So when did you decide you wanted to be, you didn't no longer want to be an astronaut? Like at what age?
So I think around 15, 16 is when I started having a passion for medicine. I really didn't know exactly what went into it or why I was feeling that way. So it was something that I kept in mind. There's a huge story behind why I really chose that field. And when I was younger, I think about 15, 16 years old is when I just had these weird dreams. I wanted to go to different countries, and I saw myself having these dreams of me in different countries, Africa, South America, things like that, and just working in a medical field. And I had no idea if this would happen or not, but I just kept it to myself. And then one day, there was a pastor who came to my house, and he just told me that he saw me going to different countries doing something in the medical field. So I was like, wait, hold on. That is so weird.
How do you know this?
I know, because I was literally dreaming about this stuff. So I told my parents about it, and they were like, hey, maybe it's a sign, or, if you really are passionate about this, maybe you should go for it. So that's when I started being more serious about getting into the medical field. I applied for med school. I got to a school in New York, got a decent scholarship, but then when it came time for me to start that semester, I started to doubt myself.
The first semester.
Yeah. Before I started that semester, I doubted myself, and I was like, oh, you're not smart enough to be a doctor. So I threw away my scholarship, and I went to nursing school for a year.
Wow.
At the end of that year, something just kept telling me inside, hey, this is not your calling, and that feeling stayed with me. So after that, I prayed about it, and I just was like, hey, God, if this is really what you want me to do, you're going to open up another opportunity for me, because I kind of wasted a year of my life. And I was very particular in the way I prayed about it. I was I wasted 1 year. Usually schools in America are 8 years long. So if you open up a door for me that is less than 7 years.
Wow, you were specific
yes,
about what you needed
yes.
and wanted.
I was like, if you open up a door for me less than 7 years, I am going to pack my bags up and leave wherever you send me.
Wow.
And a couple months later, my dad's a pastor. So there was a family in the neighborhood. Their kids were going to med school, and it was a 6-year program.
Wow.
Yeah, but that med school was in India.
So you traveled to India?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
So,
that's so cool.
I applied, I got accepted, I packed my bags, and I went to India for 3.5 years. Then I came back here to the States, finished my rotations, and I got what they call residency. in Delaware, and that's where I've been since 2015.
I think it's so amazing how you said that you thought about, wanting to be a doctor and traveling, and then you end up going away to a whole different country to even study and become a doctor. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And like how God worked in that specific way and opened that door for you to go out there, and you were very specific with your timeline, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Like it just shows how, everything works out.
Yeah.
The way it should be.
And I think it also tells you that, like, hey, if you ask, like, prayers, be specific too, and then don't complain when God gives you what you ask for.
Yeah, because I'm sure when you asked for that, you weren't, I don't think you were thinking about going to a whole different country.
Oh, never.
Like,
no.
You were, I don't know if you were specific about, like, staying in the States or going, but you're right, I think you can't complain when you are specific, because He's giving you what you want, maybe in a different way.
Oh, yeah.
But that's amazing. Okay, so my next question is, so when did you graduate? When did you finally, become a doctor?
So my journey started from 2008 is when I actually left nursing school and went into medical school. I graduated, did my undergrad, and then finished my theory 2011. Then I left India. So the process just keeps going. After that, I had another 2 years of rotations and then prepping for my board exam, my initial board exam. And then after that, in 2015, I had to do something called a residency, that's where you specialize in what you choose to be, like the type of doctor you want to be. And that was 3 years, and then I graduated from that in 2018, so I have been on my own as a doctor since 2018.
That's amazing. So what kind of doctor are you?
So I am a family practice physician, but I specialize in urgent care, so I work in urgent care office.
What made you pick that specifically? Because there's so many.
So there is like a variety of patients that you'll see, and you're seeing them in more of like an emergency or urgent type of visit. So it just is a field where you always have to be on your toes. It's not like you're following this patient for a couple of months and you really know them that well. So it helps me like meet like a bunch of people, like a variety of backgrounds, and then it always like keeps me on my toes because I always have to like think like broad, not knowing the person, and just being able to like come up with a proper diagnosis and stuff like that. So that was something that I was interested in.
You mentioned something about you wanting to go and become a doctor, but then you switched to nursing. So what can you tell people that are doubting themselves? Maybe they want to pursue a degree or become a doctor or a lawyer, and then they're like, I don't think I can do this. I'm not like smart enough. I'm not sure. Like, what can you tell? What advice do you give them?
Yeah. So definitely that's something that I struggled with like initially, because there's always that passion like someone has, and it might always seem like out of reach or like too hard to like grab. But if you really want something, work hard at it, one way or the other. Like if that's the place that you're supposed to be, you will wind up there. Going into nursing, there's nothing wrong with that, and everyone just has their different path in life and journey in life, and that was just the first step for me. I learned so much along that journey that I took with me into the medical field. So thinking that you're not smart enough is just basically the way I look at it. I do believe in God, and I do believe that like things happen for a reason. So like the minute that basically the enemy knows that you have a purpose in life and like knows that you're gonna wind up in this area where you're being called and the passion that you have, he will try anything to prevent you from getting there.
Right.
So doubt is one of those things, and fear, and thinking that you're not good enough. are like voices that he'll put in your heart and in your mind to prevent you from getting there, because he knows, like, more than you know, that you have the capability of getting there.
Right.
He just is gonna put these roadblocks. But if you truly want something, you're going to fight through it, and then you will get there.
I love that, and it's so true, because I think, like you said, he knows what will stop you from pursuing your goals and your dreams, and then, you know, you just have to make up your mind to just move forward and go for your goal. And so I love how you were able to, like, overcome that and do it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So you shared that you were a family doctor. What do you love the most about your job?
So there's a lot of things I like about my job. The main thing is it gives me the opportunity to just meet a lot of different people, from all, like, walks of life, from different backgrounds, and just, you know, having that time to get to know that person is very important to me, because even though I'm kind of, like, introverted, I do love getting to know people and their stories, and just, like, hearing that, and then overall just, like, helping them get better while they're, you know, not well.
No, yeah. You mentioned in the beginning how you always wanted to you didn't say mission work, but I'm assuming it's similar. You wanted to do that in other parts of the world. Have you been able to do that, or do you have anything set up for the future to where you can partake in that in other countries?
Yeah, so in 2017, while I was still at my training hospital here in Wilmington, St. Francis Hospital, we had a medical mission team go out to Peru. So we stayed in, like, the Andes Mountains for about, like, 2 weeks.
That sounds so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, and we set up little clinics for the local people to come and just get medical attention. And that experience has been one that has, like, changed my life in many ways, because I think a lot of times, like, we just get used to routine and you know, just the way, like, healthcare is set up in America. It's kind of difficult, but then when I went out there to see that, you know, we would wake up at, like, 5 in the morning, go out to this field, get our tents ready, and hearing the stories of people who were walking for hours just to come to this clinic just broke my heart. You know, they didn't have access to transportation, they were carrying their children on their back, and had been going through a lot of, like, medical conditions that could be, like, easily treated here in America.
Yeah, I think sometimes we get so caught up in, like, you know, where we live. We're so comfortable. We have cars, transportation to easily get us from one place to another. And then when you go out to a different part of the world, a country where they don't have those services, it's just very humbling to see what they go through. And when you compare, you know, what you have and what they have, it makes you really appreciate what you have.
For sure.
So that's awesome that you were able to experience that. I feel like I've always wanted to do a mission trip or go somewhere, but you got the opportunity, and I think that's amazing. Do you plan on doing more of those in the future?
For sure. That was my first medical mission trip, but I have been on numerous, like, regular mission trips afterwards through our church, The Journey. And I've been to Guatemala and El Salvador since going to Peru.
That's awesome. What can you tell, like, people if they want to, like, go out on a mission trip or just serve others in other ways, whether it be, you know, here in the U.S. or in another country? Like, what do you have any advice for them into doing it when they're kind of, like, 50-50 about going and serving?
Yeah, definitely. If you have any thought of trying, you know, going into a mission trip, I would say the main thing is go into it with an open mind. You know, you obviously have that passion to go out and serve, but put all expectations aside and just be open to learning, to growing, and getting out of your comfort zone. Because, like I said, we're very comfortable here in America. So when we go to other places, just leave all your comfort aside and be okay to be vulnerable and to just be open to what you might learn when you go there.
That's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So my other question is, as a doctor, how much of an impact has COVID-19 had on you?
So, like you go into like training and all this stuff and you never expect to live through a pandemic. So that was really tough. I know the healthcare system, everyone who volunteers, who works, has been faced with, something that they never imagined they would be going through. Initially, when everything started, we were working long hours, seeing, sometimes 100 patients a day.
Wow.
And
that's a lot of patients.
Yeah, and just trying to meet, that safety protocol, gowns, masks, everything. It was pretty difficult because, like, a lot of the beginning portion of COVID, many people were afraid to even go into the ERs because they thought that they would get COVID.
Yeah.
So the urgent cares were the first lines where people would go. So like we were swabbing, we were treating people and then triaging them to like say like, hey, okay, you're okay to go home, or you're too sick and you have to go to the emergency room. So it did take a toll on us. Just the sheer volume of people we were seeing, but also being more cautious as to like, hey, are we like being safe? Are we going to spread this to our family? And those kind of things were on the back of our minds. So trying to balance everything was very difficult.
How did your family deal with, knowing that you were seeing patients possibly that had COVID or were positive in COVID? How did they, how were they towards you about that? Were they a little worried, understanding?
Yeah, so my parents were definitely worried. I think it was harder for them too because my parents live out in Texas, so they couldn't see me all the time, but we talk on the phone basically every day. And they're always like wondering, hey, are you safe? Even up until today, they're like, how many COVID patients did you see? Are you making sure you're washing your hands? And I'm like, yeah, Dad, Mom, I wash my hands. but
that's parents for you.
Yeah. But definitely they were pretty worried like every day, but they were always just happy that I made it home safe. Yeah.
And I guess I have one. I kind of want to go back. Is there any other doctors in your family? I know you mentioned like wanting to pursue that. Is there any doctors in your family, or are you the only doctor or the first doctor in your family?
Yeah, so I am the first doctor in my family. There is basically a nurse practitioner and a physician's assistant. In my extended family, but I was the first one who went to pursue medicine.
That's awesome. Are you first generation here in the U.S., or has your family been here for a while? When it comes to career-wise too.
Yep. So I am first generation, born and raised here in the States. My parents were actually from India, South India. Area called Kerala. So they came here, I would say, my mom came here initially in the 70s.
Wow.
And she had been married to my dad just for a short while, so she came here first and then brought my dad here from the Middle East.
That's awesome. I'm sure your parents are so proud of you too.
I hope so.
I think they are. But no, that's amazing how how you overcame all your obstacles, all the fears that you had into pursuing this career, and now you're here being a doctor in the middle of a pandemic. And I'm very grateful for you, and I'm grateful for all the doctors, and not only all the doctors but everyone that has been working during this pandemic. And I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to do this interview with me. And I hope that I learned a lot from you today, and I hope all the viewers learn something. She's an amazing human being, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. And do you have any last advice or last comment to end the video?
Yeah, whatever you want to do in life, just go at it 100%, and don't worry about whatever anyone else around you will say. If this is your passion, go for it, and you will be happy in the end for doing so.
Thank you so much for spending today with me, and well, I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you, Gina.